Good morning. My name is Sujata, and I'm from Manipal Global Education Services. We've recently read a lot about the new National Education Policy, which was released, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's really going to be the context of today's podcast. I have with me Ramya Venkatraman. Ramya is the founder and CEO of the Center for Teacher Accreditation, also known as CENTA. CENTA is a teacher certification company that's working to make teaching a much more aspirational career through various certification programs, and it also helps connect great teachers to a very wide range of career opportunities. Ramya has been recently recognized by Niti Aayog and the United Nations among 15 women transforming India, and also by Education World among 50 leaders who can revive India's education system. We've all been reading about the NEP, which was released on 29th July. After
Mhm.
34 years, the NEP has announced plans for a major overhaul of India's education system across its primary, secondary, as well as higher education streams. And while the policy hits absolutely the right spots to transform the system and really meet the needs of 21st century India, parents, educators, students, all combined have many questions about the policy and really a lot more about its implementation. So the first question we really had, Ramya, is what, in your opinion, are the three big and new takeaways, from the NEP that as parents we should really be happy about?
So, so in my view, NEP 2020 has some interesting takeaways for parents. For one, the push towards foundational learning up to grade 2 can make play and activity based methods much more prevalent for this age group rather than starting to create pressure too early. And I think a lot of parents would welcome that. Second, at the high school or secondary stage, since NEP allows much more multidisciplinary study, flexibility in subject choice for the boards, this means that students don't have to make too many narrow choices too early in their lives and can decide gradually as their own opinions shape up and as they uh, understand better what they really want to do. Third is that the pressure associated with board exams is expected to reduce by focusing the exams on core competencies rather than memorization and also allowing two attempts. So that's another thing that students and parents can hopefully look forward to. Let me add one more, which also I personally think is a very interesting takeaway, which is at the higher education or college stage, where NEP allows multiple paths for students to get credits in different subjects and over a period of time with work experience in between. And this therefore opens up many interesting possibilities for students with different kinds of interests as well as different family situations.
But do you think these are mapped, to the challenges that children face in school today? I mean, what's the level of uh, mapping and solutions the NE, does the NEP provide to what children face on a day-to-day basis?
I would say yes, because uh, today too much focus on rote or memory based learning and too much of silos or narrow paths from secondary onwards are some of the fundamental issues that drive many of the other challenges in our schools. And if these big changes, which are envisaged in the NEP on these fronts, are implemented, they can definitely address many of the other day to day challenges.
I think the biggest question, Ramya, is really more on implementation. How easy or difficult is it going to be to make these changes in schools? How is it going to affect the kids? Any thoughts on these?
So, of course, no change is easy. And if you sort of look back, many of the points like holistic development, multidisciplinary learning, scientific temperament, etc., which NEP talks about, are also outlined very nicely in what is called National Curriculum Framework, or NCF 2005. And we, of course, know that while some of these things happen in pockets, even 15 years down the line, we are far from implementing all this as a system across schools. But what gives me more hope in NEP 2020 is that it has at least three powerful levers of change at the policy level. And in my mind, these three are the change in the format of board exams, the flexibility in subject choice and pathways at the secondary and college levels, and teaching careers being based on merit and competencies so that teachers get real motivation for improvement. And ultimately, a school's ability to implement the changes envisaged is very dependent on the quality of its teachers. But NEP 2020 provides the broader framework where they can do this much more easily. For example, teacher competencies needed for high quality education may now be much more aligned with teacher competencies needed for helping students do well in the board exams. And that alignment makes the change easier for schools to implement. And another powerful thing in NEP that can help schools with the change is teacher sharing across a school complex, which certain school groups are already experimenting with, typically more for cost reasons. But now regulation can actively encourage this for quality reasons.
So are you saying then, Ramya, that really a lot of this change will have to be driven by school management in that sense, or the leaders of the schools, or is that how much of it is also going to be classroom to classroom?
So the starting point in many of these cases does tend to be the school management, because they have to set the guidelines for things like the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 format, or what subjects will be offered at the secondary level. Once the guidelines are set, the day-to-day implementation is in each classroom. And if the guidelines are implemented in true spirit of the NEP, then they can unleash great teachers and enable them to deliver truly high quality education. With career growth based on merit or competencies, this can actually be a huge opportunity for teachers to grow professionally and get recognized for good work. So if you take our teacher competency framework, for example, CENTA standards, it in fact captures many of these competencies in great detail. For example, it is not just knowledge of the subject, but conceptual understanding, application, and how it links to other subjects that will be important. On the pedagogical side, the ability to use a range of different pedagogical methods to build conceptual understanding and also make a class engaging is an important competency. Another example is on student assessment. The competency would be not just running tests for students, but being able to design tests that identify what specific misconceptions or challenges a student.
More specifically, Ramya, on hiring,
Mhm.
what do you believe is going to change in terms of the hiring processes for for teachers?
Now, what NEP does say is that teachers need to go through a concrete testing of competencies at the point of hiring. And this may be applicable to both government and private schools. And what is interesting is that NEP also talks about how something like the teacher eligibility test itself needs to become more competency based rather than testing for theory, etc. So for example, Sujata, you're aware that Manipal Group and CENTA are launching a postgraduate certificate program with Manipal University on teaching for the future. And the first batch admissions are in fact going on right now, as you know. And we do believe that the competencies that a world-class program like this will build can now get much greater value in the broader ecosystem.
How do you believe the role of a teacher has changed already? I don't want to say will change. It has already changed. And we see that when we, see our children attending online classes from home, there's a lot of opportunities that have probably arisen because of COVID and the scenario, of the new normal really emerging out of that. So what do you believe are some of those opportunities?
In this scenario, what happens very interestingly is that teaching becomes much more visible to parents and to society as a whole. Second, one also starts recognizing that in the same school, there is one teacher who is really good and another teacher who doesn't actually have the same level of competencies. And this very visible and clear difference between teacher competencies that parents are finally starting to see. And we are seeing this dynamic quite a bit in our work, where a lot of teachers as well as schools are very keen for teachers to get certified, for teachers to get upskilled, because teachers are now carrying the brand of the organization in a much more visible manner.
I think a key takeaway that I've sort of heard you speak about is this whole impact on teacher education, right? I think that has really been reimagined as part of the NEP. Ramya, I thought we could wrap up by speaking a little bit about the program that we have joined hands to launch. Manipal and CENTA joined hands to launch the PG certificate program in teaching for the future as well as school leadership. And both programs are 5.5 months long. The best thing about this is it's completely online. So there's a whole lot of flexibility in terms of learning and the pace. And it really covers many diverse aspects of teaching as well as leading schools, from a management perspective.
Manipal Group and CENTA have been very clear that this program should be an extremely practice-oriented program, while of course being rooted in the best educational research and theory. Overall, the program has 6 courses as the main courses, and these cover all the important competencies needed for being a great teacher. For example, that the crux of a lesson plan is being clear about what is the learning objective that you are trying to achieve. And again, sort of going deeper into that, what does it mean to define a learning objective in a very, very practical manner, and in a manner that you can actually see at the end of 1 hour of a class, or say 10 classes of a particular subject, that yes, I have achieved this learning objective or I have not achieved this learning objective. So these are some of the practical aspects of something like lesson. Similarly, if you take student assessment, the common thing is to talk about, okay, what is a formative assessment, what is a summative assessment, what is CC, etc., etc. But again, practically, what matters most in a student assessment is, one, am I designing the question itself in a manner that it is likely to differentiate between a student who has understood the concept and a student who has not understood the concept. So what does it take to design a question that way? And second, when a student gives me an answer, am I able to gauge what is the specific difficulty that he or she is facing, as opposed to simply saying that the answer is wrong. The whole focus of this course is going to be on practice as a teacher. The other interesting thing about the course is the electives. So we have 3 electives. One is on online teaching. The second is on international careers, that is a career outside India in teaching, because we do believe that global mobility is important for raising the overall stature of a profession. And third is very specifically on the IB and Cambridge curricula, which is of interest for many of the participants of the course. And finally, of course, on the placement side, for teachers who are looking to get placed coming out of this program, we have a fantastic set of schools and other organizations who have already signed up for the placement from this program. So these are some of the features that I would mention as unique.
Thanks once again for a great discussion on the NEP, and look forward to talking about this much more.
Thank you very much, Sujata. And we also look forward to working with you on this, and glad to have the discussion about NEP as well.